Reviewing Squad today. Look at the little bear. Ugh, there's a second loading screen. Playing Squad can make you feel like you're part of a team, or like you're playing a walking or waiting simulator. It depends on whether or not your squad leader or commander knows what they're doing.
Bravo team, stick with the APC. Alright, we pin them down, and then Charlie will flank them.
Squad is a tactical shooter, indie game, strategy, video game, massively multiplayer strategy game. Google always coming hot with those genres. It's an FPS milsim light. It was developed and published by Off-World Industries, a Canadian indie developer. There is no story in Squad. This game is for people who want Arma-like combat experiences requiring teamwork and communication without the clunkiness of Arma's game engine.
Oh! Stop killing me.
Oh! Why don't you dig up a click for the subscribe treasure? Here are the menu settings. Pause if you want to read them. You've got game settings, graphics settings, audio settings, controls, including general controls, voice or command, infantry controls, round vehicle controls, helicopter and axis, interface, Steam inventory, and replays. Squad primarily supports mouse and keyboard, but also has partial controller support according to Steam, but I still recommend mouse and keyboard. Squad is only available on PC and is only distributed through Steam. The internet mostly agrees that it's unlikely Squad will see a console release. There's no progression in this game, let alone cross-progression, so saving and crossplay is unnecessary and unavailable. Log in and play. Let's talk about the graphics. The game definitely looks better than it did 3 years ago when it was still in early access, but that also might be because I have a better computer now. Anyway, the game looks fine, but more importantly, it sounds good. Sounds are key because knowing how far away something is and in which direction can be extremely useful. This does rely, however, on your team shutting up long enough for you to actually hear those sound cues. Squad requires moderate hardware to play, especially if you plan on setting the view distance to max. It's also recommended that you have a mic so you can communicate with your team. It's literally in the Steam hardware recommendation.
Sounds like a tank in an IFV.
Oh, what was that explosion?
The game works on a ticket-based system. Your team gains or loses tickets based on how you're doing. For example, dying loses your team a ticket. Losing a vehicle loses your team multiple tickets. If your team reaches 0 tickets, you lose. There are 2 primary game modes, Invasion and Random Advance and Secure, RAAS. In Invasion, one team is attacking and one team is defending. This game mode is dumb and in my opinion doesn't give squads as much tactical planning opportunities. You're always either attacking into the meat grinder or respawning and defending your front lines. Additionally, the defenders have the whole setup phase to run around and fortify different areas before the match even begins, while the attackers just have to wait. In Random Advance and Secure, each team has a main base and a point to capture. After capturing the point, a new point will spawn closer to the enemies. Eventually, both teams meet in the middle and work to overthrow each other. The game mode provides an opportunity for squads to decide if they need to help defend the front lines or start an attack on the enemy. The points are not always the same on the map, and you don't know where they're going to be at the start, so each game is a little bit different. So what is there to do in Squad? Well, you can walk, squat, crawl, jump and climb over terrain. You can even hop small gaps. Lean. Mount your gun to stabilize it. Change fire mode. Throw a grenade to explode your enemies. Lob a grenade to kill your friends. Heal your teammates. Choose your loadout. These options are available depending on the size of your squad, so pay attention to that and how many you already have. Rearm if you're out of ammo, or swap classes if you don't like the one you're playing. Join or create a squad with your team.
7.
Open your map to see the plan. Mark your map if you're a squad or fire team leader. Enter a vehicle to go for a ride. What is that guy doing? Drive a vehicle to get your boys into the action. And vote for map or factions at the end of a game. Squad is team-based PvP. Join a game, select your class and loadout, and go.
Brilliant.
The enemies in Squad are just other players. You got people who will sneak up behind you, people who will camp your spawn, and the pro gamers who actually work together to take your point. Squad uses the Steam server browser. Typically, you'll want to find a server with a lot of players and low latency. If you pick a full server, you'll be in the queue until people leave. I was planning on letting this clip play at increased speed, but it took 6 minutes to actually get in the game, so this is all I'm going to show. In Squad, you can attack your teammates, but if you don't apologize or it happens too many times, you can be kicked or banned by server administrators. Most of the good
Where?
servers are owned by clans and have rules related to this. There is text chat, but there's no time to type when you're at war. You can use voice chat locally in your squad, or if you're a squad leader yourself, to other squad leaders. The armor you're wearing is based on the map you're playing and the team you're on. However, the game does offer a store with weapon skins and emotes. Some of them are even free. Alright, what's great and what sucks? Squad is much more focused on teamwork than your average FPS, which I think is pretty cool if that's what you're into. There's also a level of resource management. You don't get ammo count displays, just colors of your magazine changing when you use ammo. And you also have limited bandages, which means eventually you can overpower other teams or be overpowered by enemy forces. There are no killer hit indicators, which is also nice for a sim-ish game. For the things I didn't like, first off is queuing, which is a word I enjoy, but sometimes it takes a long time to join a game. Jumping off small ledges can injure you, which kinda sucks. Sometimes bushes and other terrain looks like people, especially if you've been playing for a few hours. It kinda sucks if you have low view distance because you're at a disadvantage. Sometimes it feels like you're on a death respawn loop, depending on what your squad is doing or how the game is going. Also, this is the worst part of this game for me. It is very hard to tell the difference in livery. If someone first approaches you, the first thing you gotta do is figure out if they're on your team or not, and sometimes that's difficult. And finally, recoil can be pretty crazy if you don't mount your gun before firing. Squad achieves what it sets out to do pretty well. Sometimes it can be extremely frustrating to play, especially if you have a bad commander or squad leader who doesn't give direction or comes up with a dumb plan. Personally, I can't fathom playing this game alone and having to be part of a squad of complete strangers. I would always prefer to have at least one other person in Discord with whom I can strategize or talk shit. For me, the worst part of this game is getting positive identification of your targets. Sometimes your team's clothes look almost identical to enemies, so if you're in the same area, it's hard to not accidentally kill your teammates. On our patented 0 to 1 scale, we give Squad a 0.75 out of 1. If you like this no bullshit review, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us your favorite brand of ketchup. Everyone just uses Heinz, right? Thank you, good night, and remember to de-dust your computer every once in a while. Your room be dusty.